Hello, in this video tutorial, we will cover Unit 4, Activity 2, which is the last activity of our semester, and it will be a course review and will help you prepare for the final exam. So if we take a look here, if we take a look at my announcement from this morning, you'll see Unit 4, Activity 2, Course Review and Exam Prep. And of course, as always, I've given you a link to jump into the activity, which we will in a minute here. It's our final activity. It reviews the course. It's going to provide information on your final exam. To prepare for the exam, I would suggest two basic things. Number one, I would suggest that you review the content in Units 2 and 3 activities that are listed in this course review, which we'll see in a minute here. I'm only going to test you on course material that came after the midterm. So, so Unit 1 was covered on the midterm, and so my material that I will focus on the final exam are in Unit 2 and Unit 3. Also, there's going to be some video tutorials that you can take a look at the ending of this activity, and they will cover the three main tasks that you will have to do on your final exam, which is read and respond to an information paragraph, read and respond to a narrative, and write a series of paragraphs. Okay. If you have any questions after you go over Unit 4, Activity 2, any questions about the course or the exam, please email me. I can help you one-on-one, either in class, in my room 106, or I can help you online through Google Meet. I'm available generally from 1:45 till 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, and I'll be available this week and next week leading up to the final exam, which is at 12 noon next Friday, June 12th. And it will be in my classroom in room 106. So it will not be in the cafeteria like we did for the midterm. It will be in my classroom, so 106. All right, with that said, let's jump into the review activity. Okay. All right, so as it says here, course culmination. So this again is our final activity, and it will sort of wrap up the course for us. So if we take a look here, it starts by congratulating you for developing your reading and writing skills. And then if you continue on, it will give you a course review and exam preparation. Now, there is no assignment to submit. Your last assignment was the series of paragraphs that you may still be working on. That's technically due today, Monday, June 1st. But you don't have any more assignments to submit this week. There's nothing new in terms of that, but there is exam preparation for the next, almost 2 weeks before we write the exam. So your final exam, to repeat myself, is, let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Sorry. Your final exam is 12 noon on Friday, June 12th. It is mandatory. Everyone must write an in-class final exam. I cannot give you an OLC credit unless you pass an in-class assessment, and so you must come into the final exam. If there's some extreme reason why, and legitimate reason why you cannot attend the exam at this time on this day, it's extremely important that you let me know as soon as possible, and we can try to make an alternative time or date. Again, it's very important that you are here at 12 noon on Friday, June 12th. If there's any reason you can't, it's something that you and I and probably the vice principal will have to discuss, but let me know right away if there's an issue. Okay. In terms of location and rules, the final exam will be written at St. Michael's. It'll be in room 106. Please arrive 10 minutes early and provide photo identification. You will need to verify your identification, your identity before you start writing the exam. So if you arrive 10 minutes early, we can get you started on time. Okay. The exam is written on paper. There is no cell phones, electronic devices available. Keep that in mind. I think we're all aware of this. You cannot use any electronic devices. You cannot have your notes out or books out during the exam. So please come to the exam with a pen, pencil, whatever you need to write, an eraser, but you do not need to bring any papers or anything else. I will provide you with any extra paper that you may need during the exam. You will have 2 hours to write the exam. One other thing I will say is the exam, it is being written in my classroom, and I will have my classroom arranged for the exam. And you will see that your name is on a desk, and that will be your desk for the exam. So when you come in, you'll find a desk with your name on it, and then that's your seat for the exam. In terms of the format, what will the exam look like? There will be 4 parts to the exam, very similar in style to the midterm. The first part will be identifying and explaining course concepts. So I will give you some short answer and some fill in the blank questions where you will have to show me that you understand what you studied, specifically in Unit 2 and Unit 3, which we'll get to here in a minute. Part B, you will have to read an information paragraph and respond to questions. Part C, you will have to read a narrative, a real story, and respond to questions. Okay, so I have some videos that will help explain how to read and respond to an information paragraph and how to read and respond to a narrative later in this activity. And last but not least, you'll have to write one final series of paragraphs for me. You do not have to write 5. You'll be asked to write 3 paragraphs on a topic that you should be able to have an immediate opinion on, and you should be able to jump right in and start writing. We will talk more about how to do that later in this activity. In terms of exam content, so it says, review the following topics on the course website. Questions in Part A, so Part A is the course content here, right here. Questions in Part A of the exam will test your knowledge of course concepts, such as the elements of a narrative, or the elements of a news article, or the information included on a resume or a cover letter. So if you go back and you look at the content in these activities, and any activity that I do not list or any topic that I do not mention, don't study. Because I promise you, these will be the topics that I ask you about in Part A on the identifying and explaining course concepts. So we've got inferences and summarizing texts, which was in Unit 2, Activity 1. We have news article elements, which is like headline, byline, photo, caption, lead paragraph, the parts that make up a news article. In Unit 2, Activity 3, we talked about narratives. And just a reminder, you will have to read a narrative on this exam and answer questions. So a narrative is a real life story. So it has a plot, it has setting, it has characters, it has a theme. Okay. Unit 2, Activity 4 was about research and information paragraphs. So I would expect you to know what is a credible research source and how to properly cite sources. So I could ask questions about that in Part A about course content. Writing information paragraphs, you are not going to have to write me an information paragraph. You're going to have to write me a series of paragraphs, but you will read an information paragraph on your final exam. So you might want to go back and take a look at the parts of an information paragraph. In Unit 3, we looked at researching jobs and applying for jobs. We also looked at how to write a cover letter, how to write a resume, and how to answer job interview questions. I could ask questions related to Unit 3 and workplace communication, again, when I ask you about course concepts in Part A. So maybe I ask you about, the parts that go into a resume, or maybe I ask you about the types of questions that you would be asked at a job interview. So if you go over this content, if you go back and look at these activities, and again, any other activity that's not mentioned here or something that was done in these activities that is not listed as a topic, you do not have to study in terms of course content. Okay. Um, Again, any topics not listed will not be on the final exam. Okay, now in terms of practice material, as I said, you're going to have to read an information paragraph and answer questions. You're going to have to read a narrative and answer questions. And you're going to have to write a series of paragraphs. So these are YouTube videos with instructors that go over how to do these three things. And they look at practice examples of an information paragraph, a narrative, and a series of paragraphs. So if you take a look at these videos, they'll give you some tips and they'll give you some ideas about how to do the three main tasks. And when I say three main tasks, I mean part B, part C, and part D of your final exam. So definitely take a look at these videos. There's some other videos that I have here, and these are repeated. These are videos and one website with a practice literacy test that I provided you before the midterm test or the midterm exam. So if you want to go back and take a look at them again, that could be helpful. You will have to answer some multiple choice questions on the exam. After you read the narrative and after you read the information paragraph, there'll be a couple of multiple choice questions. You'll also have to write a series of paragraphs. So this tutorial here kind of helps you with the planning process of writing your paragraphs. So if you want, you can take a look at these. Again, they may look familiar. These are the same tutorials that I provided before the midterm exam. Okay. I would say these three right here are the primary ones because these are the exact three things that you have to do on your final exam. Again, read an information paragraph and answer questions, read a narrative and answer questions, and write a series of paragraphs. And that's it. That's the review material. This is the content. This is the format, what it'll look like. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help you out, and I'm happy to talk with you either online or in person in my classroom. If you're not available from 1:45 till 3, which is my time for my online classes, we can try to work out another time. But yeah, let me know if you're having any trouble with finishing up any of the assignments in the course. Again, please let me know as well too. Other than that, have a good week and happy studying.